The sports card community is full of a lot of different people with different levels of collecting experience. It's kind of like the NFL. You got the rookies, you got the Hall of Famers, and then you got the Gardner Minshews. As I like to do, today I'm going to go into some Facebook forums, and my goal is to answer 5 questions from rookie collectors. I'm going to try my best to answer them. If you're a seasoned collector, let me know in your comments how you think I did. If you're a rookie collector yourself, hopefully you learn a thing or two. Here we go. All right, we're going to the page Sports Card Nonsense. It's a podcast. I think they still do it. I'm not 100% sure. I've never actually listened, but I've heard it's good. So I need to do it at some point. It's what I need in my life, another podcast. All right, so let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Okay, I'm looking for help. This sounds like a question recently, 7 minutes ago. So I'm looking for help. I've never actually sent a card in to get graded. Do they only write what you write for them to put on the slab info, or do they decide what to write? What if I told PSA it's a shimmer, but in reality it's a cracked ice? Which would they put on the slab? I noticed them selling, and they are 100% exact the same card, but worded different on the slabs. That's actually a good question. I'm not 100% what the answer is. Say I send them a base prism and say it's a silver prism. I know they're not going to put silver prism on the slab just because I lied and wrote that. Or even if I mistakenly wrote that. They'll fact check you. I do, however, have a friend that has hundreds of thousands of dollars of cards, and some of them are really high end. So they're not necessarily as common, and they're from a little bit more niche sets. And he has a couple cards that are from the exact same set, but there's a little bit of discrepancy on how they're listed. For example, one might be listed like yellow neon etch, and one just says neon etch, and they're the same exact card numbered to 5. It just seems like PSA has something that they reference, and it's not always 100% exactly consistent. But to be fair, I've also seen Michael Jordan cards labeled as Larry Bird. So mistakes happen there, and there's definitely a human element involved. Alright, here's one that says, please no BS talk. I have a question. That's the money word right there. He's got the phrase. Used to collect cards back in the 80s, 90s with my dad. Haven't collected over 20 years. My son and I slowly began collecting together lately, mainly singles, packs here and there. Things have changed a lot since I collected. I have a lot of college cards that sign from packs, a few numbered cards. Most are numbered up to 500. Then I began buying singles for my personal collection. We mainly collect football and basketball. Any advice, here's the actual question, there's a long preamble there. Any advice on how to go about buying packs and checking prices and knowing what to send in to get graded? Thanks in advance for positive advice. Figured you'd get persecuted in the comments, does it look like you did? Here's what you do. The easiest way is just to comp it on eBay. So we're going to go to eBay and say your card's a blue optic CJ Stroud. Sorry, I didn't realize my screen was giant. You guys got to call me out next time. So on the left side of the screen, there's this option that hits sold items. And you can scroll down. So I'm looking for, here's a raw. It sold for $94. So hypothetically, if I had this card, I'd look it up and say, oh, here's what the raw sold for. And then I can look here and say the PSA 10 sold for, this one says best offer accepted, so you got to throw that out. PSA 10 sold for $260 right there. So it's it's $100 raw basically, or it's $260 as a PSA 10. On these modern cards, typically as a PSA 9, they sell for about the same thing, and this is a PSA 8 that sold for $15.50. When I say they sell for about the same thing, I mean typically a PSA 9 sells about what a raw one would sell for, so presumably about $100. But using comped cards like this really will inform your decision making. That is 100% the easiest way to know what you should grade. With older cards, sometimes grading a 9 still raises the value, and if it costs $20 to grade them and increases $20 to get a raw card graded a 9, then it's worthwhile, typically. Don't grade all your comments, though. It's annoying. Here's another question. I've actually had to search quite a bit. Has anyone ever graded cards with tag? If so, what are your thoughts about the service? Thinking about using them for my PC. I like the look of their slabs, but not sure the technology they're claiming to use for grading cards. Looking for some thoughts on tag. Poor guy got 51 minutes of silence. I got you, D'Angelo. That said, I've actually never heard of tag. This potentially could be my next big, video review with tag grading. Tag sports card grading. Alright, here we go. Tag grading company. So, before we actually look at this, my initial reaction, let's just talk through it. My initial reaction is there's only 2 to 3 companies worth grading. PSA, I don't love their work. I don't love though they have a monopoly on everything, but they grade so many cards. They're the main one. They're the cream of the crop, at least in terms of like collectability. I don't think their cases look as good as like BGS, but they don't do subscores, anything there, but they do the most cards. Their cards are respected the most. Their grades are respected the most. Always start with them. Then look at BGS, potentially, and SGC for sports cards is another good alternative. For example, you can always go to gymrate.com. It's just what it sounds like, gymrate.com, and they show you the volume of stuff graded yesterday. So, for example, yesterday PSA graded 60,000 cards. Next closest was SGC. It's at 6,000, so they did a tenth, and Beckett did about 2,000. So they're just doing like 4% of what PSA is doing on the day-to-day. They also do a blog where every month they publish the total for the month. So like last month, PSA graded 1.4 million cards compared to the next closest was about 200,000 from CGC. And these are probably going to be like a lot of gaming cards. So this just shows you these are the ones that you should really trust. Now, let's look at Tag. And again, my gut reaction is probably going to be no, but we'll check it out because this website looks super duper cool. Over 10 years in the making, technical authentication and grading is a leading and multi-patented technology-backed card grading solution. Tag collectible expertise spans across TCG, sports, and non-sports cards. It's almost like a politician. It's saying a lot without actually saying anything about what they do. To be fair, it's copying the hero image of the website. The website looks amazing compared to a lot. It looks even better than PSA. This looks really, really good. Really nice looking website. They have a population report. My guess is right now it is very, very minimal. They have total cards, 17,000 total cards graded. PSA grades more than that in like a day. And a good rule of thumb to remember is like when you have to explain what a company is to get people to understand like why you have it, then it's probably that's going to be a red flag. So I make sports card content 3 to 5 times a week and I never heard of Tag. That alone makes me just say stay away from it, despite how good it looks. For this one, I'll actually read my answer to you guys. They have a great looking site, but have graded less football cards on Tag than PSA grades in a day. I'd stay away. Even the best startups in the grading space burn out. There were 10 plus just like this during the pandemic sports card bubble. So, at least as a response now. Alright, I'm back. Finally found another question after looking through like 35 posts. Is this a numbered card like you see on today's cards? No, it's not worth much, but I didn't think they were numbering cards 20 years ago. They were, in fact, numbering cards. So this is like a very early serial numbered card. So it doesn't have the like holofoil that they have on today's cards, but this one is numbered to 199. So super duper cool. A little history lesson for you guys. 30 plus years ago even, says Scott. That's really cool. Alright, one more question here. Alright, here's one. It says, not a card, but I was wondering if anybody can help me ID this autograph. My son got his ball signed yesterday at the Tigers-Orioles game. So here's a picture. We're going to save this image. We're going to crop this image. Then we're going to do a Google image search. Fortunately, none of these images look correct. We're not going to be counting this one because I can't get it. Here's a question. After today, are the Lions and 49ers still teams to beat in the NFC? They both lost today, so the answer is no. It's week 2 and they're 500. So no, they're not. I'm not counting that as a question either. Here's one that I'll count as a question. Is this considered a rookie card? It is the CJ Stroud Let's Play Ball. This is considered Fanatics saying, hey, we have exclusive autograph rights to CJ Stroud, so we're going to put him in every set possible. There's also a Wembanyama card here. It's the equivalent of having like a Kobe autograph and a Prism soccer product. I think that was a fans of the game thing back in the day. So no, it's not a rookie card. Still very cool card. Still Fanatics just overdoing it with all the autographs because they have exclusive rights. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys learned something. It's always fun to get out and see what the community is up to. And if you have any particular questions that you want me to try to answer, let me know below. See you next time.